In this video, I'm about to show you 15 US food brands that have been heavily criticized or linked to ingredient concerns in the conversation surrounding RFK Jr.'s food safety stance, and 5 brands that are often considered relatively safer choices, starting with number 15. Number 15, Airheads bars. Airheads bars don't get talked about as much as other candies, but they rely heavily on artificial colors and flavor systems designed purely for intensity. Synthetic dyes like Red 40 and Blue 1 are still common in US formulations, even though some global markets have pushed toward alternatives. The concern isn't one piece of candy. It's that these color systems are primarily aesthetic engineering. RFK's reform conversation often questions why visual appeal requires petroleum-derived additives when cleaner options already exist. Number 14. Trix cereal. Trix has built its identity around bright colors and child-focused marketing, but many US batches still rely on synthetic dye blends. Interestingly, General Mills previously experimented with natural coloring versions before switching back after sales shifts. That decision tells you something. Reform is technically possible. It's just not always commercially preferred. RFK's broader stance often revolves around that exact tension. What's healthier versus what sells faster. Number 13. Entenmann's Chocolate Fudge Cake. Entenmann's Chocolate Fudge Cake looks bakery fresh, but it's formulated for national distribution. That means preservatives, stabilizers, and texture agents to prevent staleness. Shelf life is profitability. Freshness is branding. Those two don't always align perfectly. RFK's reform narrative often circles around that industrial trade-off. How much chemical assistance is acceptable before baked goods become lab-managed systems instead of kitchen recipes? Number 12. Fanta Orange Soda. Fanta Orange remains known for its vibrant color and heavy sweetness profile. In many international markets, reformulations rely on different dye systems compared to US shelves. The bigger issue isn't just color, it's sugar density. High fructose corn syrup dominates many American soda formulas. RFK's reform focus often questions why sugar exposure remains so normalized in daily beverages when alternative sweetening approaches already exist elsewhere. Number 11. Toaster Strudel Strawberry Pastry. Toaster Strudel markets itself as customizable breakfast fun, but the pastry contains enriched flour, preservatives, and artificial flavor components for storage stability. The icing packet adds additional sugar layering on top of an already sweetened base. RFK's broader message often emphasizes how breakfast has quietly become dessert in many American homes, not through malice, but through gradual formulation drift. Number 10. Takis Fuego Rolled Tortilla Chips. Takis Fuego are engineered for intensity, heat, salt, color, repeat consumption. Artificial coloring and flavor enhancers create a sensory overload effect. Highly palatable snack science isn't accidental, it's tested. RFK's reform language often questions hyperpalatable design, not because snacks should disappear, but because food engineered for addictive texture and intensity may override natural satiety signals. Number 9. Oscar Mayer Bologna Slices. Oscar Mayer bologna remains a staple in many American refrigerators, but like most processed meats, it relies on curing agents and sodium preservation systems. The concern isn't a single sandwich. It's pattern consumption over decades. RFK supporters often point toward cumulative exposure in processed meat categories, especially when these foods are normalized as everyday staples. Number 8. Mrs. Freshley's Powdered Mini Donuts. Mrs. Freshley's Powdered Mini Donuts look bakery soft, but they're engineered for shelf survival. Preservatives like sorbic acid and dough conditioners help prevent mold and texture breakdown during long storage cycles. That fluffy texture isn't just flour and eggs, it's stabilization chemistry. RFK's broader reform conversation keeps coming back to this idea. When baked goods can sit for weeks without shifting, we're no longer talking about fresh baking. We're talking about controlled industrial formulation. Number 7. Krusteaz Buttermilk Pancake Mix. Krusteaz Buttermilk Pancake Mix simplifies breakfast. Just add water. But enriched flour blends, leavening stabilizers, and added sugars shift it far from traditional scratch recipes. It's efficient, yes, but it's also optimized for uniform texture across millions of kitchens. RFK's food reform narrative often questions how much processing is quietly embedded into products marketed as homestyle, because convenience and authenticity don't always travel together. Number 6. Jif Creamy Peanut Butter. Jif Creamy Peanut Butter is a pantry staple. But unlike natural peanut butter, it often includes fully hydrogenated oils and added sugar to maintain spread consistency and prevent oil separation. That smooth texture people love doesn't happen by accident. It's emulsification science. RFK supporters frequently highlight ingredient creep, how simple foods slowly become more complex over time for stability and consumer preference control. Number 5. Dr. Pepper Original Soda. Dr. Pepper's formula includes high fructose corn syrup in most U.S. versions, contributing significant sugar load per serving. Soda acidity combined with high sweetness creates a flavor profile that encourages continued sipping. That's chemistry working as designed. RFK's broader policy conversation isn't about banning soda outright. It's about confronting how normalized daily sugar exposure has become in American beverage culture. Number 4. Annie's Shells and Real Aged Cheddar. Annie's markets itself as cleaner than traditional boxed macaroni, and in some cases it does reduce synthetic dyes. But sodium levels remain comparable to many mainstream competitors. Organic labeling doesn't automatically equal low sodium or minimally processed. RFK's reform messaging often reminds consumers that health halos can distract from nutritional fundamentals. Labels matter, but numbers matter too. Number 3. Hawaiian Punch Fruit Juicy Red. Hawaiian Punch Fruit Juicy Red contains added sugars and artificial colors in many U.S. versions. Despite fruit imagery, actual juice content can be relatively low compared to sweetness level. The branding suggests tropical refreshment. The formulation suggests sugar-forward beverage design. RFK's broader discussion repeatedly highlights how marketing language often drifts far from ingredient reality. Number 2. Nestlé Crunch Bar. Nestlé Crunch Bars combine sugar, milk solids, and crisped rice with emulsifiers for texture stability. The ingredient list isn't shocking, it's typical for mass-produced chocolate. But sugar density remains high relative to serving size. RFK's food reform focus often circles back to portion scaling. Smaller bars decades ago have quietly grown, increasing sugar exposure without consumers fully noticing. Number 1. C-Pack Popcorn Shrimp. C-Pack Popcorn Shrimp turns seafood into a heavily breaded freezer snack. Sodium levels can climb quickly once seasoning and coating are factored in. Seafood itself isn't the concern. Its transformation. Breading systems, stabilizers, and pre-frying alter the nutritional profile dramatically. RFK's broader reform message frequently points to this industrial layering process, how whole foods become processed vehicles for salt and additives before reaching American dinner tables. But not all brands are as careless about us, the consumers, as here are the 5 that stand out for good. Number 5. Lesser Evil Himalayan Gold Organic Popcorn. Lesser Evil's Himalayan Gold Popcorn keeps its ingredient list: short organic popcorn, coconut oil, and pink Himalayan salt. That's about it. No artificial flavor systems, no neon dye coatings, no complicated preservative blends. It's still a snack, it's still salty, but compared to heavily engineered chip brands, this is a simpler formulation. RFK's reform supporters often argue that transparency and minimal processing shouldn't be rare in American snack aisles. This brand shows it doesn't have to be. Number 4. Muir Glen Organic Diced Tomatoes. Muir Glen Organic Diced Tomatoes are straightforward. Tomatoes, tomato juice, sometimes citric acid for acidity balance. That's normal canning practice, not engineering preservation. Canned vegetables don't need artificial color boosters or flavor enhancers. And that's refreshing. RFK's broader food reform conversation often highlights that whole foods don't require complex chemistry. Sometimes the cleanest products are the least flashy ones. Number 3. Tesame's Organic Lemon Garlic Dressing. Tesame's Organic Lemon Garlic Dressing uses olive oil, lemon juice, garlic, and simple seasonings. No artificial stabilizers or synthetic emulsifiers. It separates in the bottle, and that's actually a good sign. Real oil and real acid don't stay perfectly blended without assistance. RFK's supporters often say ingredient transparency should be visible, not hidden. When you have to shake a dressing, that's not inconvenience. That's authenticity. Number 2. Maple Hill Creamery, 100% grass-fed whole milk. Maple Hill Creamery focuses on 100% grass-fed dairy sourcing. The ingredient list? Milk. That's it. No stabilizers, no added thickeners, just pasteurized dairy. It costs more than conventional milk. That's the trade-off. But RFK's reform conversation frequently emphasizes sourcing integrity over shelf optimization. When a product contains exactly what it claims to contain, that shouldn't feel like a premium feature yet in modern grocery aisles, it often does. Number 1. Sweet Loren's Chocolate Chunk Cookie Dough. Sweet Loren's Chocolate Chunk Cookie Dough keeps its formulation relatively simple compared to many mainstream cookie brands. No artificial flavors, no synthetic dyes, recognizable ingredients. It's still dessert. It's still sugar. Let's not pretend otherwise. But cleaner labeling proves something important. Indulgence doesn't automatically require heavy chemical layering. RFK's broader reform argument isn't about eliminating treats. It's about proving better formulations are possible at national scale.